FreeMMOStation.com.
Yo, what's going on, Station? I'm Shore with FreeMMOStation, and today we're going to do a first impression on Overwatch, but we're going to be doing this first impression a little bit different, okay? Most of the content of this first impression is going to be found in the comments below, okay? I want you guys, if you have any questions whatsoever, I mean anything, as technical as how the actual physics of the game works, to the menu options, to the different characters, literally ask me any question, and I will try to respond, okay? I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of questions, and they're probably going to be deep and in detail I need to answer, but just ask me any questions, okay? So look in the comments, guys. We're going to have a nice little conversation, a little community first impressions here. And also, if you guys have played Overwatch, you can help answer some of these questions as well. But I'm going to give you sort of my vague first impressions of Overwatch. I've played for a couple of hours now. Well, more than just 2 hours. I played a lot, but not nearly as much as I think I need to play to really master this game. It definitely, absolutely, guys, is a solid shooter. I'm just going to say that. Short, to the point, simple. It's a solid shooter. More solid than any other shooter that I'm playing currently in this genre, okay? I have NDAs on fucking all those games, so I can't really tell you how they compare, but I'm just gonna say, all I can say is that Overwatch in this genre, Battleborn, Gigantic, Lawbreakers, like all these other games in the genre, these character shooters, these team-oriented, like MOBA, FPS hybrid games, Overwatch is the best. Hands down, completely. Is the best, but that's tragically all I can say. I can't tell you how they exactly compare, but one thing that I can say for sure about Overwatch is that we don't know if it's going to be free to play or not. Well, I know we're FreeMMOStation, but yeah, a lot of games are a little questionable, whenever they want to publish themselves, how they want to go about it. It's been kind of happening lately. Free to play isn't just the answer, buy to play isn't just the answer. Sometimes it's a mix, sometimes it's awkward, it doesn't work out, but I think, in my personal opinion, I think Overwatch is going to go free to play. I imagine so. It's got characters, they can sell lots of skins. However, there are some issues with that, because Overwatch plays very interesting. It plays just like Team Fortress 2, and yes, I know there's going to be a lot of diehard fans of Team Fortress 2 or of Overwatch that say Overwatch isn't competing with Team Fortress 2. Dude, seriously, the game types are literally the exact same. The art style is, of course, very similar, but I'm not talking about the art style. I'm talking about mechanically, characteristically. Overwatch really is like a Team Fortress 2 2.0, or it would be like Team Fortress 3. It really feels like that, okay? I'm just saying. That's how it feels. It's my first impressions, and honestly, I don't think I'm wrong, because they actually got a majority of the Team Fortress 2 pros to actually stream, play the game, do the beta test. I'm pretty sure they're directly competing with Team Fortress 2. I think they can both definitely exist. I think you could definitely play both of them at the same time. They do have some unique features to each other that make the games really fun. But, in my personal opinion, Overwatch is the better game, because I like what Overwatch brings to the table. It's something entirely new. Don't get me wrong, Team Fortress 2 is really original, but I also think Overwatch is original in its own little way, because it does have MOBA elements, versus its Team Fortress 2 has, like, its Quake elements-ish. Anyways. Okay, so, I'm going to try to answer some questions that I think is going to come up here. Number one, what are the physics like in the game? This is actually pretty huge. The engine of a first-person shooter basically makes the first-person shooter, as we see with Halo. It's really floaty, but also we get some really awesome interactions with vehicles, and the physics of the game, it kind of works out, even though it is floaty. Call of Duty is really down-to-earth, but it's also very fast-paced. So what is the engine like in Overwatch? The truth is that it's very similar to Team Fortress 2. Again, there are some physics interactions. You do have grenade jumping. You do have some abilities that do have a little bit like playability with them. Like Tracer has a blink, right? But how you move and how you look and aim with the blink, your momentum while blinking does depend on how you blink. There are certain rolls, dashes, but a lot of the mobility abilities in Overwatch currently are very static. A lot of it is point, click, and you move there, or you teleport there, and you don't have much playability. But there's also some characters that do have playability. There are some mechanics, like I said, grenade jumping with Junkrat. It's pretty similar to the Demo Man of Team Fortress 2. So I believe later on we're going to get rocket jumpers. We're going to get people that can fly and dash through the air. I mean, we already have sort of like a hovering character with Pharah. So I believe we are going to have lots of really crazy physical interactions like we see with Lawbreakers. But at the moment, okay, if you watch the Lawbreakers trailer, you see a character with a grappling hook, and she can actually like move around entire like towers and stuff. You don't have that in like Widowmaker for Overwatch. You just point click and then she goes into that direction. And then you also have like the rocket jumping in Team Fortress 2 is really crazy. It's ridiculous, very mechanical, very physical with the engine. It's intense, right? We don't quite have that in Overwatch at the moment, but there's no reason why a character like that could not exist. However, what I want to say is that the potential for Overwatch is there for that, physics interaction. The engine, obviously, is just great. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the videos, but it's really good. If you play the game, you can really feel the engine, and it's great. So, for instance, One reason I see that the game is working really well with its physics interaction is going to be whenever you are playing characters that move other enemy players, okay? So even though, like, Pharah doesn't have a rocket jump herself, she does have abilities that do knock around other players. So you are seeing that very physics interaction sort of thing happening there. You can actually have, like, a little propulsion grenade that repulses enemies, and you can get them out of, like, a little choke point, push them away. You can use it defensively, you can use it offensively. You know, there are, not everything just does damage. Not everything is point and click. There are physics interaction in Overwatch, because there's been a lot of complaints about people who have played Team Fortress 2, like pros, and they went and played Overwatch, and they said that there really wasn't that. You know, there's no rocket jumping or anything like that. There's no reason why that can't exist in Overwatch, and there's already, to a degree, that sort of physics interaction. So, just real quick, wanted to say that, since Overwatch does compare to Team Fortress 2 so much, and a huge factor of Team Fortress 2 is going to be its physics interaction. One thing, though, that I do want to say is that Overwatch's engine overall is significantly more solid. Absolutely. If you play as Huntsman, Bow, Sniper, okay? So with Team Fortress 2, almost every weapon has a little bit of latency. When you click the actual attack button, you click the shoot button, and then you have like Soldier, Huntsman, Bow. There's so many different weapons where you click to attack, and there's a little bit of like latency or like lag or just like some time, okay, between your click and then the actual projectile launching out. And that's really awkward. You don't have that. In Overwatch, everything is really snappy, really quick, pretty freaking solid. Even abilities that do actually have travel time and take time to move through the air, it still feels significantly easier to aim, to actually get hits. Normally, historically, I never thought I was a really good sniper. Lately, I have been practicing a lot in Team Fortress 2. I've been getting really good. But holy shit, in Overwatch, with this engine, I'm doing really fantastic. Like, I feel like I've never been playing better. I feel like it's just that solid. Like, there's no second guessing. I don't have to pretend like, okay, when is the rocket going to come out? It's going to come out 0.5 seconds after I click this, so I need to aim just a little bit. I need to lead a little bit better. No, everything is just really solid, really intuitive, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the amount of polish that Overwatch has. And I'm pretty sure that the beta that they have going on right now is just kind of for balancing. You know, it's just for balancing and maybe some ideas on the different game types, some different characters that they want to introduce. I don't know. But basically, there's no way it's just to polish the game, because it's so solid. I'm not really feeling any latency or lag or any sort of just like anything. I'm not feeling anything other than goodness, man. That's all I'm trying to say. So, if you play Team Fortress 2, yes, there is some awkwardness with launching projectiles. I absolutely know that engine is kind of dated. As much as Valve is updating it, it is a little bit dated. Overwatch is using something brand new, and you can feel it. You can, or you basically feel it by not feeling it. You don't feel anything holding you back. You feel like there's just nothing but goodness, and it's fucking fun. Okay, but let's get into what Overwatch is and what I played. So there's just a few game modes right now, and my only complaint is that the matches are really, really fast. The maps are kind of short-ish. I mean, that kind of makes sense, though, because it is an arena shooter, really. I mean, it's an objective shooter, but it's still, you know, in arenas. It's not like Battlefield or anything. There is a lot of walking between respawning and going to the objective, though that makes sense, because it can't be Call of Duty. You know, Call of Duty spawning is garbage. It's literal garbage, and there's no competitive nature to that at all. So you need set spawns that are safe, that do take a little bit to get to the objectives, okay? So there is a lot of time of you just walking and stuff, but that kind of gives you time to strategize and to plan alternate routes, you know, flank around and stuff. But that has been a complaint of a lot of journalists, of a lot of streamers. So I just want to, you know, say that. It's not Call of Duty. You're not going to have a team deathmatch mode. Well, you might later on, but it is an objective game. Okay, so the objectives, right now we have payload, which is just like Team Fortress 2, and actually we have capture points, which are very similar to Team Fortress 2. You capture point A, and then you gotta go point B. Payload, you gotta push it to a checkpoint, then push it to a next checkpoint, and then push it to the final. So it's just like that. What makes this game really, really different, though, other than, of course, its super solid engine and its art style, is it's going to be its characters. And the characters are super fun. They're absolutely every single one. Every character that I played was actually really, really fun, regardless if I actually did well or not with them. And it's awesome to see the variety of characters. Like, if you play this game, you see all these characters, and a lot of other games like Dirty Bomb, specifically fucking Dirty Bomb. Dirty Bomb has a ton of characters, but actually, most of the characters share so many different aspects of them, from run speed to health and armor, or like, because some of their abilities are actually directly the same. Each one definitely does have a single unique ability, but in Overwatch, each and every single character has multitudes of unique abilities that are entirely mechanical and unique to them, okay? Lucio has auras. Let's see, Mercy has to directly, well, just like kind of like the medic from Team Fortress 2, has to directly go next to the teammate. She also has a dash. Lucio can run on walls. Hanzo can walk and run up walls. Like, you can't dash alongside the wall like Lucio, but he can actually climb the walls vertically. Widowmaker has, well, a sniper rifle that can also be a machine gun. She can see through walls. You also have Tracer, who can fucking blink back and forth. You have all these characters that have entirely different movesets, entirely different sound effects, entirely different aesthetics, but also mechanically, each and every part of their kit is a unique aspect to their kit, which, you know, other games can't really say the same. I could say, you know, Gigantic actually does, you know, each character does actually have pretty unique characteristics, which is pretty cool. But Overwatch, which is directly competing with these other first-person shooters, with these other, you know, other first-person shooter, even character games, character first-person shooters, it has the best characters, and overall it has the best shooting physics that I've played and felt so far. But yeah, the maps are kind of small, the game modes go by pretty quickly. I would like to see a little bit more in-depth game modes, something a little bit more unique. I know that they are directly being inspired by Team Fortress 2, obviously with their game modes, but I would like to see something a little bit more different. Of course, I don't want to go on full MOBA like Gigantic and have like a totally unique like maps and zones and game modes with the giants or whatever. No, we don't need that. It can definitely be inspired by Team Fortress 2. I just want to see a little bit more, but of course this is beta, so we are limited a little bit on maps and on game modes, but I'm sure, you know, we are going to get more. I'm absolutely certain of that. And because of the style of the game, because it does appeal to a casual audience, but at the same time competitive, I bet that we are going to have a multitude of very casual game modes, and then we're going to have a couple of select very competitive game modes. And I'm cool with that. I really like the variety there with that. But I do want to say that if you play Overwatch at the moment, if you play these matches, because they are so fast and furious. Now, sometimes they can drag on, depending if it's a really good team versus another really good team. Most of the games, though, I find are very stompy. But, you know, beta's beta. If you play this game at the moment, you know, if you get in beta with its limited game modes, it will kind of, like, burn you out. Like, it honestly does get a little bit tiring. You don't have like the ability leveling, you don't have the itemization of MOBAs, and at the same time, we don't quite have the variety of game modes that we are used to in most first-person shooters that have launched. Then again, beta is beta, so hopefully we don't get as burned out on release. I think so. I would like to. It just seems like the game mode is really fast. Like if I play Team Fortress 2 and I play Payload, it's like the matches are really drawn out. They're really epic. As you travel through the map, there's all sorts of different situations that you have to overcome depending on where you are on the map. Of course, you know, there's different checkpoints, different choke points, and it's a lot of fun to see how the enemy defends and how the enemies are offend you, actually aggress upon you. And it's pretty cool to see the different tactics and strategies there. And of course, Team Fortress 2 also has item customization. So you don't just have different characters, or, well, they're different classes, but you can customize those classes to have very, very different, unique sort of play styles. Like a demo man can just go full melee. But then again, Overwatch's answer to that customization and to that depth is switching between these different heroes. They're called heroes. The characters in this game are called heroes. Switching between different heroes and as well, you know, just using their variety. Just the pure raw variety of heroes. So yeah, but as through a match, you know, through a match, you're not going to have different itemization in a MOBA, which in Gigantic, that's a lot of fun, you know, being able to level up different abilities and stuff as the match progresses. But at the same time, Overwatch, it's more about switching heroes at different points in a map, and that's kind of their style of gameplay. So if you are somebody who likes playing just one single character and spamming that character, you can kind of do that in Overwatch. It's just like, it's more about switching, you know, it's more about doing different things at different times. Like kind of like my bias with Guild Wars 2. I only wanted to use great swords, but it's actually very, very important to constantly switch your different elements and stuff in Guild Wars 2. And what I think once you get over your bias and once you understand that that's how the game is played, you're not just supposed to go in there with a single mindset, with a single strategy in mind to just do that. Once you understand that you have to be constantly like fluid and switching depending on different parts of the map, then you'll have some fun. But if you go in thinking that you're just going to play the sniper non-stop and win all the time because you're fucking amazing, sometimes that just doesn't work. Sometimes you can be a great shot, but you still will lose because they simply had a better composition and they did a better tactic at that moment in time and they just overran you. It just doesn't matter. Yes, it is a shooter, but aim is not the most important thing in Overwatch. You need to think about strategy, tactics, teamwork, all that good stuff, and then perform those things through your mechanics. But it does kind of seem sometimes that things get a little bit stale. You know, if you play a character, you can't ever really play them in a different way. It's not like you can go buy magic items on them and see how that works, or buy attack speed. It's not like you can evolve these characters in different ways. You can kind of just mechanically play them at different times, and kind of maybe in a slightly varying way. Maybe you can play one character that's meant for offense on defense. Maybe you can play one that's meant for defense on offense. But for the most part, it's really all about the mechanics of the character. You aren't going to be statistically leveling them up, which can be a downer, you know. So if you want that kind of experience, then you're going to want to go play Battleborn or Gigantic. But if you're all about those shooting mechanics that happen to have like a little flavor of MOBA, because you do have unique mechanics because of the different unique abilities with the characters, then that's Overwatch. And because of how solid of a shooter it is, I do think that it directly competes with games that are slightly outside the genre, like Gigantic and Battleborn. Those are technically MOBA, even though they are shooters. I still think that Overwatch, because of how solid it is, competes with those even. So anyways, that was my little rant on Overwatch. I mean, there's a lot of characters. Hopefully you saw some gameplay, but I'm not going to go over every single character here. If you want to ask me questions in the comments below, I'll answer all your questions. I'm pretty sure I know the insides and out of Overwatch. I tried to express some of the things that competitive players might want to know. But for the casual players, you know, maybe I missed something. Go ahead and ask me. And for those super hardcore competitive players, if you want to know exact details of physics, like I said before, go ahead, ask me, and I'll try to answer. Thank you for watching. Don't send private messages. Put it in the comments below so everyone can see. Thank you. And thank you for watching. I'm Skeleton with FreeMMOStation. This was my first impression on Overwatch, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.